the more automation takes care of our basic needs, the more we're going to focus on our social status and our place within a community, right? So AI could take care of our basic needs, but it can't take over our community of our social status, because no matter how much our social status increases, other people's social status increase as well. So your position within society is still going to be relatively lower than other people, right? So it's always going to be a challenge. There are going to be some people that are ahead of you, no matter how much things improve. There are always going to be people ahead of you, and it's going to be a challenge to beat reach them. And the game will be different. You're not going to be coding, you're not going to be engineering, you're not going to be cleaning, right? It might be it might be discussing, it might be talking about events that happen better than other people. It might be here's an example, okay? Here's an example. Do we Has AI beaten all chess players? Like, have we passed that point,
Yeah, I think
Khalid?
so. Yeah, I think
Yes, we
so.
have passed that point. We have passed that point for a couple of years. Like, way before ChatGPT came, AI has been able to beat all players, right? So humans are way behind AI right now. Okay, but chess tournaments between humans hasn't gone away. And if you go look on YouTube, if you see humans playing chess with each other, against each other, those videos get a lot of views. Like, why would people bother watching two humans play chess with each other with so much interest when AI is already so much better at us? Why are we interested in that?
They, I think personally, the AI was mostly trying to do analysis. That's the only thing they were trying to
No, no, no.
program it.
AI, no, no, no. AI can actually play chess better than any human. Okay, better than any human. But as humans, we're still interested in humans playing chess, watching humans play chess against each other and see who wins. We're interested in that. In fact, we find AI playing chess with AI or AI playing chess with humans boring to watch. So them
I
being
was gonna
better,
ask. Yeah.
yeah, them being better, not only it doesn't interest us, it actually it was novel. It interested it was interesting at the beginning when they first passed humans, but as soon as we saw that they're so much better, we came back to being obsessed with humans. Here's the thing: humans are obsessed with humans, and the reason why you're working is because you're trying to impress other humans, right? Maybe you're trying to impress your wife, your daughter, your mother, your husband, your neighbor, right? And that's not a bad thing. We are social animals, and we want to signal to other humans that we are important, that we're worth it, we are worthy of love, we are worthy of care, and that takes effort, right? So if AI comes and does everything for us, well, it does everything for everybody. You still need to find a way to stand out compared to other people, to show your worth. Like, you're not going to be able to show your worth just sitting around and doing nothing. How are you going to show your worth? There needs to be, you're going to find a challenge. Humans are obsessed with other humans. Humans are obsessed with other humans' attention, and humans are obsessed with challenges. So humans, the thing that we find human is our limitations. So if you say AI will pass those limitations, we are still going to come back and look at humans, not because they still have AI would not have limitations. AI will have those humans will have those limitations. So for example, why do we watch soccer? Okay,
For
because
fun.
we want what? Yeah, but why is it fun? Because we want to see the human body with its limitations. What it could do. What are the we want to see certain people take the human body to its limits. Things that if we see a robot do, it wouldn't be that interesting, because that robot body might not have that doesn't have those limitations. It's the limitations of the human body that makes it like an artist. Like right now, AI could make art. At some point it could make art better than any human. But if you make a live stream of a human making two paintings at the same time, two drawings at the same time with both hands, we want to watch that live stream, because like, how the fuck are you doing that? Okay, so AI can do that, but that's not interesting. A human, but the human limitation, we want to that live stream will make money because we are obsessed with other humans and we want to see what they can do.
Okay. I mean, the only thing I have other fear is Skynet, but that's that's another thing.
So let me actually tell you, we are already living in a post-labor economy world, right? Because if you think like, oh, all our jobs will be taken away, all our jobs have already been taken away. If you go back 200 years, the vast majority of the people were either in farms or mining, and if they looked at you today, they would tell you that you're not working, and you're like, I'm working. They're like, that is not work. What the fuck are you talking about? Right? So the things that we're doing today would have not been defined as work by people 300 years ago, right? So we are already living in a world that people are not working based on what the definition of work was, for people 300 years ago. So going forward, you're like, if you look at what people are doing, you're like, oh, they're not working. Okay, but they are working, but based on what we today call work, then they're not working, but they are working because they're challenging themselves in some way, right? For you, probably their work is going to look like computer games, or just chilling around and commenting on shit, right? Or learning philosophy for the fun of it so that they could talk to other people about it, or learning about uh, chemistry, not because they need to produce anything with chemistry, but because they want to just talk to other nerds, and like they want to do live streams or social commentary on things that they find fascinating about biology. And you just have to be more knowledgeable and more interesting than the other person, so you could get the social status that the other ones don't have. And that's how your economic worth will be defined. AI
I
knows
mean,
more biology than you, but AI is not interesting as a friend, because AI is unlimited in its knowledge. It's not interesting to talk to. I want to talk to another human.
That's true.
okay, but what if you just I'll talk later.
Yeah, sure. I was just going to say, as far as the economy goes, and replacing jobs, um, you know, technology and industrialization is kind of what to help. Sorry, that's my dog. Uh, Technology is kind of what made slavery redundant up in the north, you know, of the United States, as opposed to the South, which wasn't very industrialized. A lot of it just got phased out, you know.
Yeah, that's actually a good point. A lot of people think that the North was morally superior. It was just, it was just like economically, the South was more dependent on slaves. That's why they couldn't take it. Yeah.
That's
No,
true. Yeah, it was just practicality in large part. It was a mix. It was a mix of morality uh, and practicality.
Yeah, exactly. We like in many places when they abolished slavery, people were like, "Oh, people became more moral." I mean, we got to a point where, uh, paying workers was more economically profitable than having slaves. With
Yeah,
the
exactly.
industrial revolution. Yeah, yeah, it didn't make any sense. Like, why would I have to chain this guy, I have to have security, I have to chase them down, I have to give him food, I have to provide them shelter. The guy, if I have workers, they just come, I pay them, they have to find their own shelter, they go have to find their own food, and I don't have to keep worrying about them running away. They come and they go, and it's like, they're not my problem anymore. So it
Yeah,
just made a
exactly.
lot more sense. Yeah.
The cotton gin, took care of a lot of that, and but the South was different because they were still an agrarian economy. The South was basically an agrarian Luddite society. They hated technology. They hated industry, and that's one of the things that they didn't like about the North, and that's one of the reasons why there was such a divide. It was ideological, as in a lot of ways.
Yeah, was there a religious basis for that?
Yes, there was. Yeah,
Yeah.
people in the South believed that slavery was a biblical institution and that nobody could abolish it. In fact, when they seceded from the Union, the Confederate Constitution actually explicitly said that the Confederacy was founded as a white nation. for the white man only, that whites were superior. That it was a white Christian nation, and they explicitly made it clear why they were seceding. It was because of slavery, because they thought Lincoln was going to end slavery, and they weren't up for that. They were very clear about that. Like as in like let's make this very clear. This is why we're doing this, and we don't care. We don't give a fuck what you think. Very explicit, which is funny because now you got people who deny that. You know, say it was other reasons and shit, and it wasn't. It was all about slavery.
I always
All
found it
true.
interesting because they had the Constitution before, you know, like while black people were still slaves, and it's like equality for all people or something, and
Yeah, yeah. The
yeah,
the
you know,
Constitution.
they
Yeah,
didn't mean the black people.
yeah. It was a contradiction. It was a contradiction. The South seceded because of slavery. Lincoln was more concerned. Lincoln was more concerned about saving the Union than about abolishing slavery. But the South was absolutely convinced that he was going to abolish slavery, and so that's why they seceded. But he himself was more concerned about saving the Union. He was against slavery. He didn't like it, but the Union was first
Right.
and foremost.
So let's see what Oscar was trying to get in. Let's see Oscar.
Yeah, to second one Dejal was saying, would say, if you look at, for example, history books of, the studies of psychiatry back then, it was fully immersed in this language of Protestants, Anglo, kind of like the thing that you would see saying from a KKK person, right? Got to remember that they also had a prejudice against the KKK has also a prejudice against Catholics, for example. And when Italian and Polish and other immigrant and Irish immigrants came, they also faced discrimination from the group, that from the same kind of Christianity that Dejal was mentioning. And for example, there existed like psychiatric diseases like drapetomania, which was the insanity that a slave gets in wanting to run away from his master. Because
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because if you kept him well fed and like you were kind of beating him, but not too hard, you didn't knock out his tooth or you didn't like make him go blind, there was no reason why a slave would want to leave his good Christian master.
Yeah,
And if
exactly.
people forget literature at that time, has anybody ever heard or read Huckleberry Finn?
Yes.
Oh, wait, if
Yeah,
you guys remember, Huck was feeling guilty that he was helping Jim escape because Huck was raised in that Christian milieu in which, there is an order to life, and he was feeling guilty that he was helping Jim escape, right? That was like central like psychological dilemma of Huck, that he's helping a black person escape, and it goes against his Christian values.
Oh
So,
wow, they
yeah.
they skipped that part in the children version of the story.
Yeah.
That's like that video that I keep sharing about like
Oscar, we're getting an echo. We're hearing our audio back. So when other people are speaking, can you mute your mic? Oh, there we go. Thank you. Go on, Sam.
yeah, that's why that what's it called? That video that I keep sharing about like what's it called? Islam and Islamophobia that like really helped me. That's why like it really helped me because it starts off giving examples about like how it harmed like people from Muslim families. Um so it's like the people that you're already like mentally trying to protect by not wanting to like recognize certain things, it shows how it's harmful for those specific people. Like that's like the first examples.
yeah. You're actually hurting Muslims by pretending like there's nothing wrong with Islam and that you're just trying to protect it, and but you're just reinforcing the cage they're in.
But I
That's
don't see the connection between these two. Can you explain to me? And also, was Oscar what you guys were explaining regarding the psychology? You guys are acknowledging the fact that it's actually normal for a slave to want to run away, but that's they use those writings to try to say that this is a sickness? Can you? Two things I need to clarify here. So maybe Samantha, you want to go first? Like, how do you want to connect
he was,
Yeah,
the?
because like it was talking about how he felt bad for like the people who owned the
Oh,
slave. So like it's like with the whole like my example with like Islam, the people who like you feel bad for hurting by like talking about certain things. It shows how like it actually hurts those people to not talk about certain things.
oh, okay, all right, okay. So Oscar, can you also clarify? Um, you're saying that it's natural for the slave. You're going.
Yeah, so at that time, there were like psychiatrists that coined this term, right? Like I think his last name was Cartwright, was the one that wrote something about. I think his book was called something like about the Negro race and his characteristics. And in that
Oh,
book, he says that like you know, th- there's no good reason why a black
yeah,
slave would want to run away, because obviously
yeah,
I'm treating him like a good Christian master. So sometimes, in order to avoid black people from getting this mental illness, let's say,
yeah, yeah. I
there
got
are
that.
these.
I get that. I get that. But obviously that's wrong, right? Like that
Yeah,
because humans just
100%. This is like straight up
yeah.
like racial, you know, theorizing mixed with like some Protestant, Christian point of view of like what's correct and what's not, which is kind of like at that time what really mattered was like this Victorian ethic around in psychiatry and in all these fields, right? Like when a woman would challenge a man, they would sometimes be sent to the psychiatric facility because they were being hysteric or they were being whatever, right? So a good example, later decades would be homosexuality, right? Like gay people always existed, but for some reason, because of this influence of this Protestant ethic on psychiatry, you had psychiatrists agreeing that homosexuality is a disease, for example. And how did they come to this consensus? They voted on a table, and were there less gays or more gays after they voted on this? Like, no, uh so yeah, basically with black people they used to like put them in these this category of inferior, of more, which is different from the Jewish anti-Semitism, because at least well, not at least, but in the black version, they're just kind of dumb and stupid and sexually crazy and you know these kinds of things. But the Jews, however, are kind of more like smart, and they're deceiving, and they're so they.
You mean those are you mean okay, let's just be clear because you mean that's the stereotypes that they had against them.
Yes, yes, so they would stereotype women, right? Women were flighty and they were flaky and unreliable and emotional, and they wanted to wander outside the house. So they were hysteric, right? Hysteria, they call it the wandering womb.
they were also accused of having penis in wishing they were men, basically.
Okay, Oscar, there's a lot of echo. Is there any way you could put some headset on or something? But yeah, because I don't know why.
We'll do.
Yeah, there. Okay, thank you, thank you, thank you. I want to go back to the AI, like, but because are there any specific topics that you want to focus on? Because if not, I'm interested in
Right.
going.
I was going to say about the you know I was going to say about AI, a bit more
Yeah,
about AI. The the biggest fear around AI is other than we're going to lose all our jobs, of course, is the idea that AI is going to take over, that it's going to achieve consciousness, basically, decide decide we're the enemy, and try to take us over or wipe us out, kind of like Skynet. Uh,
mm.
Figure a ways off from that, but it's a viable concern. Uh, what do you say?
Yeah, I think AI is definitely going to become conscious. wiping out us wiping out part, I don't know, but
Yeah.
uh, yeah, there is no, because there is nothing magical about our brain. So if our brain could become, I mean, if there's anything conscious about our brain, we should be able to engineer that outside of our brain. And I think like it's going to happen faster than other people realize, because the only thing we need to do to be able to get there is for AI to get powerful enough to be able to look at human brain and understand what the fuck is happening in our brain, and then reverse engineer it. So it doesn't AI doesn't need to become as good as our our brain. It just needs to become as good enough to be able to to analyze the human brain, and then that's it. Then we're done. We're going, Khalid.